Hi everyone, my name is Medi and welcome to Mindful Brews. Yay! This is the first episode of the whole entire podcast, and today's episode is going to be on the happiness of psychology. My original plan for this podcast in total was to do it where I'd have like a drink that I've never tried or something that I've had before, just like something to drink. And then I would kind of be sharing things while trying something, or like just like the brews part of the Mindful Brews title. But it's the first episode and I'm already disregarding what my whole plan was because I only have my big gallon water bottle. So I would just take a sip from that and we can get started. Get a little ASMR for you guys. Let's be innovative. Ooh, I hit the microphone. Right. First sip of the day. That's actually a lie, it is midday. And I'd be very concerned if that was my first sip of the day. But let's put her down and let's get into today's topic. Again, today's topic is the psychology of happiness. And we are just gonna get straight into it. I have my little iPad with my rundown of everything, and let's go. So happiness is the outcome of the pursuit of pleasure over pain. Again, the outcome of the pursuit of pleasure over pain. And this is a more not 100% recent definition of happiness, but in the past, happiness used to be defined by hedonic enjoyment, which is a state where someone's mind is just really like zen, it's free, it's relaxed, it's flowing. So that's kind of what was related with happiness, or how people tied happiness to something. And two words that were also tied with happiness are hedonia and eudaimonia. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but hedonia is basically another word for pleasure, and eudaimonia is basically like that feel-good state of good spirits. And so that's kind of how people would group, like say, what is happiness? These are those things that we would say, okay, this is happiness, this is what explains happiness, or this is what happiness looks like. Continuing through that, within psychology, there's a theory that kind of talks about happiness or like feelings, like good spirit feelings, which is the positive psychology theory made by Martin Seligman, who is a psychologist. And the theory states that there's 5 different things that you kind of feel or achieve happiness through, which is 1, to feel positive emotions, 2, to have purposeful acts, 3, to have purposeful and positive relationships with other people, 4 is like meaningful and fulfilling things that you're doing, and 5 is savoring accomplishments and achievements that you've had in your life. So a part of the positive psychology theory, there are 4 little theories that kind of tie with it. We have 4 theories: the hope theory, the resilience theory, the flow theory, and the strength theory. All of them are made by different people, not Martin Seligman. So starting off with the hope theory is by C.R. Snyder, I believe is how you pronounce it. It's about focusing on the role that hope has within your life and your achievements and like goals. So an example of this would be me wanting 100 views on this episode. It's my first episode, and that hope that I have is what kind of helps me achieve the goals. It's like, okay, I'm gonna keep pushing. Obviously, I don't know if that's gonna happen or not. If it does, that's like God blessed, God sent stuff, and I am more than thankful. But because I have that hope, it's kind of like that added sprinkle to like, maybe it can come or maybe it can happen. And it turns that maybe into like, oh, it will happen type of thing. And kind of keywords for that are like optimism, motivation, and resilience. Moving on, you have the resilience theory, which is by, I don't know how to pronounce the last name, but so I have the first name instead, which is Haley C. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly, and I'm so sorry for whoever this is. please get on me. I'm so sorry. I hate when people pronounce names wrong, and I tried searching up how to pronounce it, but it was just really, really hard for me, and I thought it's an excuse, but I'm so sorry. But continuing on to the theory, the resilience theory is how we deal with things over the thing itself. So I know that doesn't 100% make sense, but let me explain it. So an example is if you got a C on a test as a student. How you deal with getting your C over getting the actual C is what the resilience theory kind of reflects or talks about, because it's like, okay, when you get that C, that's the thing, but how you treat it or what you do after that. So things like, oh, you create a study group, or you talk to your teacher for help, or you revise things better, you start studying 2 weeks in advance instead of 4 days in advance, or you change your study methods, things like that. That's what the resilience theory talks about, and keywords of that is bouncing back and, that strong mindset and mentality. Moving on to the third one, which is the flow theory. So that is by a mixture of different people. And the flow theory is basically that mind of zen, that mind of focus, that mind of like, I am into this, that focus mindset. And so an example of this can be a musician when they're playing like a musical piece. I've seen this, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people have also seen this, but like when musicians are playing certain musical pieces, it's like, oh my god, I'm touched, because you are so deep into it, like the facial expressions, the movements. And as someone who used to be a musician, I guess I was in orchestra when I was in middle school, I understood how it felt to be like in the zone, in that flow state, because when we would do like practices or like concert pieces, it would be, obviously it wasn't that hard because it was middle school and that was like the beginner strings, but kind of like the focus that I had to have to make sure I was playing everything right, especially because I was second chair, guys. I don't know how, but I was second chair, so I did not want to mess up being second chair. I was right in that front row. I did not want to be the one messing up. But going back into our conversation, so the flow, that's being in the zone, and an example was the musician playing a piece, and keywords of that is like focus, productivity, and that peak state of fulfillment. There's that. So then you have your fourth theory, which is Strength by Charles Rapp. And that is understanding one's strengths over their own weaknesses. An example of this can be getting fired from your job, which is unfortunate, and I'm sorry if anyone has ever experienced this. But when you get fired, something that an example of that through the strength theory is like, okay, I got fired, so when I'm going to my next job, instead of being like, oh yeah, no, I got fired, you can be like, okay, these are my strengths though. I have that experience, I did this. Hopefully you didn't get fired for something bad. But so it's kind of things like that. So keywords of this, or like key things to think about, is motivation, personal growth, and again, that state and peak of fulfillment. And all of these four theories kind of tie into everything, because it's kind of a reflection of how happiness and well-being plays into your day-to-day life, and how you can understand different angles of that too. Going well, it's going cute. Let's get one more sip through this episode. Our second sip. I don't know if you guys could hear that. If not, I'll definitely like in the future get a better like microphone or a separate microphone, and like I'll put in a little ASMR for you guys, because I love ASMR. I think it'd be so fun with like my whole theme of like drinking things while I'm talking. So getting back on track again, I'm so sorry guys. I sometimes when I have a thought, I don't want to lose it, so I talk about it even though it's interrupting my original like not state of flow. Yeah, state of flow, really, actually. So going back to this, let's get into some research. And all of this stuff that I've been talking about is all from information from positivepsychology.com. If you guys want more information, more details, more articles, anything, I would definitely recommend you guys look at their articles. They have so much detail in there. I literally touched like 1/6. What I'm talking about right now is 1/6 of what they have in their articles because it's so well detailed. I genuinely learned so much from it. So if you want to learn more, if you're just interested in anything psychology, they have a really great website with amazing writers that just hit the spot in so many different angles, and I love it so much. But shout out to you guys. You guys are amazing. Positive Psychology, y'all are the website right now, and yeah, I just wanted to make sure I gave my credit out because that is where I got my information. And yeah, let's continue. Mainly my research. So part of my research is going to be talking about happiness. So about 50% of our happiness is predetermined. You're probably like, what do you mean? Okay, but genetically everyone has like an initial set point for their happiness. It depends on who you are, your genetics, again, so not everyone's set point is the same, but that is called the happiness set point. Yeah, your pre-existing level of happiness. And again, it is 50% of your genetics. And then, so continuing on to that, another theory that has been heard of or kind of plays into happiness is the hedonic treadmill theory. It was kind of a hard word for me to say, but I think I've gotten the flow of saying it properly. The hedonic treadmill theory. Yes, I like that. That sounded good. But so the I told you guys I'm struggling. The hedonic treadmill theory is when we adapt to our events, but our happiness eventually returns to like its initial set point. So maybe something happened and your happiness either goes up or it goes down, or you're feeling so many different emotions. But at the end of the day, regardless of what happens, when you're just like at the end of everything, it's back to right here. So like if this is your happiness set point and your happiness goes like up here or down here, at the end of the day, it's just going to go to that middle line, that initial set point that is again determined by your genetics. And so that's kind of like an idea of the hedonic treadmill theory. See, I said it properly right now. I don't know why I just had that moment struggle. Sometimes I don't understand. But getting back into everything. So the main thing you came here for is psychology of happiness, right? So you want to know how to be happy. Let me get into you. Let me share the facts, the tips. Let me give you the tea. Even though I'm drinking water today. My bad, guys. I'm so sorry. So there's 7 ways of how to be happier. Obviously, I don't believe this is everything because there's so many ways you can be happy, but these are like the 7 main things that I kind of read around and that like tie to psychology. So the first one is practicing gratitude. You've probably heard this a lot. So there's different forms of it like reflections and journaling. I personally enjoy journaling for gratitude. I think that I'm sorry. I personally think that when I journal or when I reflect on like my day, I'm like, okay, you know what, I was able to do this. So like if I'm talking about today, I was able to get out my first episode or like record my first episode for my podcast that I have been holding back for a literal fucking 2 months, guys. Oh, which is so bad. But I've been such a big procrastinator, and I've like I get nervous about this stuff and being like public like this because I feel like people are just gonna nitpick every single little thing, and that's definitely me overthinking. But getting back into this, so when I reflect on that, I'm like, you know, I'm grateful that I have the equipment to do so. I'm grateful that I built the courage to do so. And so when you look back and you have those reflections and you write down, you kind of start noticing things that you probably overlooked when you thought about it. So there is that, and I definitely recommend that one. That I feel like is something that a lot of people know or talk about. The second one is building relationships. It can be platonic, it can be romantic. It doesn't matter, but building those relationships is genuinely so important for your happiness. And the reason this is because when you're around people, when you have those connections, you have that support group, you have your conversations, all of that builds your happiness. Having someone there with you, having that person for you. You don't have to be the most closest. Y'all don't have to be twinning them. Y'all don't got to be best friends. But having that person, having a person, it plays into your happiness because you have someone. And everyone needs a someone. I'm going to be your guys' someone through this podcast. That's like what I'm trying to do for you guys. So that's just kind of how it is. And moving on to our third one, which is acts of self-kindness. So what is acts of self-kindness? Acts of self-kindness is like promoting positive actions, or like it builds a sense of fulfillment. So maybe it could be, like making your friend like a little gift, even though it's not like a special holiday, special moment, special like birthday or event or whatever, but making them a little gift, like a little kindness, like I appreciate you. That in return gives you happiness, because it's like I care for you and you can see that, and I can see your happiness or like your gratefulness, and that comes back to me because I feel good now too. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend doing that to build your own ego, because that is not how it should be used. And on top of that, you might end up falling into this deep hole of like external validation, which is not easy to get out of, which is something we're gonna kind of shift into in a moment. So you have self-care next. And so part of self-care is that momental awareness and stress reduction. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know why I'm struggling with words today, but it's those things. And so it's taking care of yourself, like that TikTok video that you see everyone doing where it's like Sunday reset day. That is what your self-care is, taking care of yourself. It can be physically, it can be mentally. You can go take a walk, you can have your skincare routine, you can take a bubble bath, you can take a little 2-minute shower with your favorite song on. That can be self-care. But building that means that you're happier because you're treating yourself. Like, I'm doing so much for my future, for my friends, for people, for my family. I'm doing so much for the world, and I'm giving it back to myself. Like, the effort that I give the world, I'm bringing it back for myself, and I'm giving it to me because I also deserve that. And that is a fact. You deserve all that love, all that effort that you put out into the world. You deserve it back tenfold. If you don't believe me, you better start. You better start. Anyways, moving on to the fifth one, we have personal growth. So there's like setting goals, challenges, and seeking opportunities for growth. So part of that is like, how does this play into your happiness? You're pushing yourself. And this kind of plays into the next one as well, so I'm going to talk about both, mixing up. The next one is limits. So when you push your limits, you are growing in happiness, you're building that positivity, because it's like, hey, I used to think that this is all I could do. I could only go 50%, but in reality, I can go 100%. And I was hiding that, but now that I know that, or now that I'm pushing myself to actually reach that goal, I know that I'm that good. And everyone has potentials that they haven't reached yet, or they're still finding out, but everyone is amazing. You guys might be at that 50%, but I know you guys have that 100% potential, and pushing yourself is kind of a way that you can reach there, and like, again, it gives you that sense of fulfillment. And then that tying into limits, the limits part hits more of like avoiding certain things that limit you, and also certain validations. Like, in life, you can't only rely on external validation. You have to also have internal validation. You can't sit here and only feel pretty because people tell you that. You have to believe you're pretty. It doesn't matter if no one says that, because sometimes people are like that. They're jealous, or they think you're beautiful, but sometimes people are shy to say something. You can't rely on other people saying things to feel that certain way, or other people to like show you that like they feel that way. So like, if my friend gave me a gift, that's how I know she's grateful for me, or that's how I know she loves me. Like, I know she loves me regardless because we're friends. And so just like not 100% relying on external validations, and kind of having that beautiful balance, and hitting that last one, which is practicing mindfulness. So it's like savoring positive experiences. I don't know why I had to pause there, but savoring positive experiences. So like, I guess an example of this would kind of be, okay, so an example of practicing mindfulness is kind of, an idea of this would be like, if you're really stressed, how do you practice mindfulness? Is you're going to take that initiative, like, hey, I'm stressed, I need to do something, kind of playing into self-care again. So it's like, hey, I'm gonna go over to that spot and I'm gonna take some quiet time. I'm gonna put on my noise canceling headphones and I'm just gonna take a moment to be in the zone or be in my little like moment to kind of breathe. Or there's like meditation, there's breathing activities, I know there are those. Just like doing things that kind of help bring yourself back to that moment and like in the moment type things, if that makes sense. And so those just tie into positive psychology, and those are psychologically like proven facts and things that you can do to achieve more happiness. If it works, definitely let me know, guys. Let me know like how you felt like over a period of time. Like say you started doing gratitude journaling for a week, like let me know in the comments, or you guys can DM me through social media and be like, hey, I noticed this is this, but let me know how you guys thought, what you guys thought of this episode. If you like this content, I know this is the first episode, but there's going to be so much more coming. If you like it, please, like, subscribe, leave a comment, maybe if there's something that you're interested in hearing in our next episode. Let me know, and I will definitely put that in there. If there's like questions you have, whatever, let me know. And then again, follow social media, which is just Mindful Brews podcast, and it will be in the link in the bio below. But thank you so much for listening, everyone. This is Medi, and I'm signing off. Thank you so much again.